But first, let's get started with our top story this evening. Encounters are not new to Jammu and Kashmir, but this one left many who have covered encounters for years stunned. They felt that this was a harder militant attack than they've seen in many years, including the tragedy of a young captain who was taken captive and then killed. This despite the fact that the militants were offered a safe passage in return for the safety of the officer.
The picture of this encounter may be familiar, but behind the scenes there was something new to the valley. The terrorists seemed more hardened than usual. An army captain in his 20s was captured and killed.
It seems it's a low congested locality. There might be some
there are trees also.
Okay.
They're obstructing line of sight.
And some casualties on our side, forces side.
Yeah, I believe 1+3.
Just ahead of this spot, security personnel surrounded a house. They were acting on a tip-off that there were two Lashkar-e-Toiba militants inside. When they reached, it turned out there were 5, not 2 militants. They came under heavy grenade attack and gunfire, killing a Jawan. The captain from the Army's elite special forces was snatched by the militants. An officer called on the captain's phone offering safe passage for the captain's release. But a militant replied, "We are ready to get killed. We have killed your captain." In the end, all 5 militants were killed. Along with them, 2 Jawans and an officer died. With Nazeen Masoodi in Sopore in New Delhi, Shruti Ranjan Sen for NDTV.
So what do we make of this encounter where even despite the offer of a safe passage, that young captain was still killed? Of course, that encounter is now over. All 5 militants have been killed along with 3 soldiers. Let's go straight across to our newsmaker this evening, the Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister, Omar Abdullah. Now, Omar, of course, like everybody else, you've been tracking this encounter in Sopore. But I want to ask you, from everything that you know about the valley, do you sense something different about this particular encounter? There is the story of the young captain who was first taken captive. There were reports even that he was tortured, reports that we haven't been able to confirm. Do you see anything different from the encounters that you've seen in the past and this particular encounter?
Well, we've always had this suspicion that with the tightening on the line of control and the border, an attempt was being made to infiltrate quality rather than quantity. More battle-hardened, more committed militants than we've had in the past, and particularly those who are non-Kashmiri. And this could very well be that being borne out in this operation. There have been concerns about the Sopore area as a whole of late, which is why we've taken some proactive steps there and also been working on generating more human intelligence. And this encounter is obviously a result of that.
Right, but what about the timing? I mean, the Indo-Pakistan Foreign Secretary talks are just 2 days away. Do you see any connection with that at all?
No connection. The militants weren't the ones who chose to engage us. We got intelligence information about the presence of these people. We laid a cordon and we moved in. So it's not as if the place and the timing were of the choosing of the militants. So I don't see any connection with the Indo-Pak talks.
But you are talking about how the quality of infiltrators may now be different, even though the quantity has reduced. And, you know, this kind of tactic of taking someone captive, of saying we've killed him despite your offer of safe passage, some security experts would compare it to tactics by groups like the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Are we seeing some sort of strategic shift in approach here?
I mean, I don't want to use the words Taliban and Al-Qaeda in the same sentence as militancy in Jammu and Kashmir. There have been non-Kashmiri militants operating for many years now. And we have had a number of them in Sopore recently. And my information is that there were a few of them in this house where this encounter was going on. It is unusual, and more so because the captain who was caught was actually a special forces soldier. He wasn't a normal run-of-the-mill soldier. He was a para, and to have been able to overpower and take him hostage is obviously something that we now need to factor into our procedures to see that this doesn't happen again.
Tuba.com,